kindness. It's one of the most profound qualities that defines us as human beings. A simple act of generosity, a heartfelt gesture, or even a few kind words can ripple through the lives of others, creating connections that remind us we're not alone. In a world that often feels cold and indifferent, kindness shines as a beacon of hope, a way to make things just a little brighter, even in the darkest of times. From an early age, we're taught that kindness is a virtue. Share what you have, they say. Put others first. Be selfless. And so we grow up believing that the more we give, the better people we become. We pour our energy, time, and hearts into caring for others, convinced it's the right thing to do, that this is how we make the world a better place. But here's a question we don't often ask. What happens when kindness goes too far? What happens when our well-meaning generosity begins to hurt us more than it helps others? When being kind becomes less of a choice and more of a burden? A quiet act of self-sacrifice that chips away at our own well-being? In today's video, we're peeling back the layers of kindness to explore its hidden side. We'll uncover the 7 ways being too kind can backfire, from emotional exhaustion and burnout to feelings of resentment and even strained relationships. We'll dive into the unintended consequences of giving too much of yourself. But this isn't just about identifying the problem. It's about finding solutions. We'll share practical strategies to help you set healthy boundaries, prioritize your mental and emotional health, and ensure that your kindness remains a source of strength rather than a cause of struggle. Because here's the truth. You can be compassionate and caring without losing yourself in the process. So, if you've ever felt like your kindness is being taken for granted, if you've ever wondered why giving leaves you feeling drained instead of fulfilled, or if you're simply looking for ways to strike a better balance between helping others and honoring your own needs, this video is for you. Get ready to rethink what it means to be kind, and to discover how you can embrace kindness in a way that uplifts both you and the people around you. Let's dive in. 1. You'll expect too much from others. When you give too much of yourself, it's only human to expect the same in return. We think, surely, the kindness I show will come back to me. It's an unwritten rule we hope governs human interactions, but life doesn't always work that way. People are often preoccupied with their own lives, their own needs. Sometimes they simply don't see, or worse, choose to ignore what you've done for them. Consider this. Imagine lending a significant amount of money to a close friend. They promise, "I'll pay you back next week," but weeks turn into months. There's no mention of the debt, and your gentle reminders are met with excuses or silence. At first, you're upset about the money, but as time passes, you realize the deeper wound isn't financial. It's the sense that your generosity and trust have been taken for granted. It's the realization that the friendship doesn't hold the reciprocity you once believed it did. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, offers a profound lesson on this. He wrote, "Do not expect bad men not to do wrong. That is madness." This wisdom doesn't suggest we should stop helping others. Instead, it encourages us to adjust our expectations. When you give, give freely and for the sake of giving, not because you expect gratitude, repayment, or reciprocation. If your kindness comes from a pure heart, the sting of disappointment will fade. You'll find solace and strength in the act itself, regardless of how others respond. 2. You'll be taken for granted. Being too kind often leads to an unintended consequence. People begin to assume you'll always be there to pick up the pieces. What starts as a loving gesture or a one-time favor turns into an unspoken expectation. Over time, this can create feelings of resentment, burnout, and the painful realization that your efforts are not truly appreciated. Here's a relatable example. Imagine a coworker panicking over a tight deadline. You step in to help, sacrificing your own time to ensure they succeed. They're grateful, at first. But before long, they start bringing you their projects regularly, assuming you'll always say yes. What began as an act of kindness turns into a pattern where your own priorities are perpetually sidelined. the weight of unreciprocated effort can become too much to bear. This is where boundaries become essential. It's not about refusing to help, but about ensuring your generosity doesn't come at the expense of your well-being. The next time someone leans on you too heavily, practice saying, "I'm happy to help occasionally, but I have my own responsibilities to focus on as well." It's a gentle reminder that your time and energy are valuable too. If you're worried about appearing unkind, frame your response in terms of fairness. For instance, you might say, "I'd love to help, but I need to keep my commitments balanced. Let's figure out a way that works for both of us." Setting boundaries isn't just about protecting yourself, it's about teaching others to respect and value your contributions. When you assert your limits, you'll often find that others learn to step up and take responsibility themselves. Kindness is a strength, but only when paired with wisdom and boundaries. 3. Your dreams will suffer. Kindness is a beautiful trait, but when you constantly prioritize others over yourself, something critical happens. You put your own dreams on hold. It's easy to say, "just this once," but before you know it, those moments add up, and the sacrifices become a pattern. Imagine this. You've been saving up for a course that could advance your career or help you launch a passion project. It's something you've dreamed about for years. But every time your savings grow, a family member or friend comes to you with a financial emergency. You feel obligated to help, and while they're relieved, your dreams are postponed again and again. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic thinkers, offers timeless wisdom. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This isn't about being selfish, it's about having clarity. When you lose sight of your own goals, you risk drifting through life without ever reaching your full potential. The next time someone asks for your time, energy, or resources, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, am I helping because it aligns with my values, or am I sacrificing my progress to meet someone else's needs? Prioritize your goals and remember that helping others shouldn't come at the expense of your own growth. 4. People may see you as weak. There's a fine line between being kind and being perceived as a pushover. When you're always the one to say yes, people might start to see you as someone who lacks the courage to stand up for yourself. Unfortunately, this can make you a target for exploitation. Consider this scenario. At work, you've gotten into the habit of covering shifts for others. While you think you're being helpful, your colleagues begin assuming you'll take on their responsibilities without question. They stop asking politely and instead, they start treating your time as theirs. Assertiveness is the antidote. Strength and kindness aren't opposites, they're partners. By learning to say, "I can't right now," you're sending a powerful message. Your time is valuable, and your kindness isn't infinite. If saying no feels uncomfortable, start small. Instead of a flat refusal, try something like, "I'd love to help, but I'm really busy with my own work at the moment." This softens the delivery while still asserting your boundaries. Over time, people will learn to respect you, not just for your kindness, but for your self-respect. 5. You'll attract opportunists. Kindness is magnetic, it draws people in. But unfortunately, not everyone is drawn for the right reasons. The more generous and selfless you are, the more likely you are to attract opportunists. People who see your kindness not as a virtue, but as a resource to exploit. Think about this. You have a friend who always seems to be in a crisis. They call you to help them move, to vent about their problems, or to borrow money. At first, you're happy to be there for them. But over time, you notice a pattern. They only show up when they need something. When you're the one struggling or reaching out, they're suddenly too busy or unavailable. This kind of relationship isn't built on mutual respect. It's a one-way street where your kindness fuels their convenience. It's essential to assess your relationships critically. Ask yourself, are these connections based on mutual care and respect, or are they just convenient for the other person? True friends value you for who you are, not just for what you can do for them. Learn to prioritize your time and energy for people who genuinely value you. If a relationship feels one-sided, It's okay to step back. You don't have to be rude or confrontational. Sometimes reducing the time and effort you invest is enough to reveal the true nature of the connection. 6. Your energy will be drained. Kindness is powerful, but it's also demanding. When you give endlessly without replenishing yourself, you're left drained, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually. Overextending yourself doesn't just make you tired, it diminishes your ability to help others effectively and robs you of the energy to enjoy your own life. Picture this. You spend your entire day running errands for others, covering for colleagues at work, and helping friends with their problems. By the time you get home, you're too exhausted to do anything for yourself. No time for your hobbies, your self-care, or even meaningful rest. Over time, this leads to burnout, resentment, and a loss of joy. Seneca offers timeless advice. Every man prefers belief to the exercise of judgment. In other words, it's easy to believe that always saying yes is the right thing to do. But kindness, when given without reflection, can harm both you and those you aim to help. Take time to pause and ask yourself, does this align with my capacity? Am I helping because I want to, or because I feel obligated? Start practicing selective generosity. This doesn't mean being unkind, it means being intentional. When you're asked for help, take a moment to consider whether you genuinely have the time and energy to give. If not, it's okay to decline. Remember, saying no sometimes allows you to say yes when it truly matters. 7. You risk unhealthy coping mechanisms. Kindness, when unchecked, can lead to burnout. And with burnout comes stress. When you're constantly pouring from an empty cup, it's only natural to seek relief. But too often, the ways we cope aren't healthy. Instead of addressing the root issue, we mask our stress with habits that only deepen the cycle of harm. Consider this example. You've been overcommitting for months, saying yes to everyone but yourself. The stress builds up, and instead of dealing with it head-on, you find yourself overeating, binge-watching TV for hours, or relying on alcohol to unwind. The temporary escape feels good in the moment, but it doesn't solve the underlying problem. It just leaves you feeling worse. The first step is awareness. Check in with yourself regularly. Ask, how am I really feeling today? Am I doing this because it nourishes me, or because I'm trying to escape? Journaling or meditating can help you catch unhealthy patterns early, giving you the clarity to make better choices. Strategies to protect yourself. 1. Listen to your emotions. Your emotions are your inner compass, guiding you toward what feels right and away from what doesn't. If helping others leaves you feeling drained, resentful, or used, it's time to reassess. Pay attention to these signals. They're telling you something important. 2. Learn to say no. Saying no isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. It's about recognizing your limits and honoring them. Practice phrases like, I'd love to help another time, or I can't right now, but I hope things work out for you. These small shifts in language can protect your time without causing unnecessary conflict. 3. Prioritize me time. Me time isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Block out time in your calendar and defend it fiercely. Whether it's an hour for yoga, a weekend getaway, or simply reading your favorite book, these moments recharge you, ensuring you can give to others from a place of abundance rather than exhaustion. 4. Distance yourself from energy. Vampires. Not everyone deserves your kindness. Some people, often unintentionally, drain your energy without giving anything back. Learn to recognize these patterns and create space. Focus your time on relationships that uplift and inspire you, not those that leave you feeling empty. Kindness is a gift, but like all gifts, it must be given thoughtfully. Balancing kindness with wisdom and self-respect allows you to keep giving without losing yourself in the process. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need this message. Subscribe for more insights into Stoic wisdom and personal growth. Remember, every time you say no to others, you're saying yes to yourself. And that's a kindness the world desperately needs.